JBN, we keep you informed. I am Michelle Jones, and in the news, Clarendon man held with cocaine in motor vehicle. Detectives from Clarendon arrested a man following the seizure of a quantity of cocaine in his car during an operation along Joe Walter Street, Kempshill in the parish yesterday. His identity has been withheld pending further investigations. Reports are that about 3:30 p.m., the police were on operations in the area when a white Honda Civic motor car was intercepted. The vehicle was subsequently searched, and a bag containing about 2 pounds of cocaine was found under the passenger seat. The police said the driver of the motor vehicle was taken into custody and the motor vehicle seized. Burglar hacked to death after being caught in the act in Montego Bay. The St. James police are probing the death of an unidentified man who was mobbed by a group of irate persons who accused the now deceased of having broken into an eatery along with an unknown accomplice on Sunday morning. Reports are that about 3 a.m., residents were alerted that the business establishment along Harbour Street in Montego Bay had been broken into. One of the alleged burglars managed to escape, but the other was not so lucky. He was caught and hacked to death by a mob. The police were summoned, and on their arrival, his mutilated body was found. The body was removed to the Cornwall Regional Hospital, where doctors pronounced the man dead. No one has so far been held in connection with the death of the alleged burglar. Lottery scammer offers cop $300,000 to avoid prosecution. A lottery scammer and his co-conspirator were this month sentenced for breaches of the Law Reform Fraudulent Transactions Special Provision Act when they pled guilty in the St. James Parish Court. They are Dalton Fleming and co-conspirator Kent Roy McLaren of Savlamar, Westmoreland. The Major Organized Crime and Anti-Corruption Agency, MOCA, noted that when Fleming was informed of likely offences, he offered to bribe a member of the team $300,000 to avoid prosecution. Fleming was sentenced to 18 months imprisonment and to pay a fine of $300,000. He was also fined $200,000 or 6 months imprisonment for breaching the Corruption Prevention Act. Meanwhile, McLaren was sentenced to 3 years imprisonment, suspended for 2 years with supervision, and to pay a fine of $200,000 or 6 months imprisonment. These sentences were handed down following guilty pleas on January 20, 2021 by both Fleming and McLaren to the offence of possession of identity information. Fleming also pled guilty to bribery. Reports are that MOCA and the Jamaica Customs Agency's contraband enforcement team conducted a joint operation at the Donald Sangster International Airport, where both men were observed collecting packages from the FedEx office. The men were reportedly accosted, and a search of packages revealed a bank card bearing the credentials of a female. The agency said the operation continued at the premises occupied by both Fleming and McLaren, where several phones and other devices used in lottery scamming activities were seized. Both men were subsequently charged. Extortion letter irks MP Robertson. There are mixed views on an extortion letter issued at a work site in Trinityville, St. Thomas, 2 weeks ago that temporarily halted construction on a section of the Southern Coastal Highway Improvement Project and has left St. Thomas Western Member of Parliament James Robertson peeved, if not angry. That letter is really rubbish. It's really imbecile behavior, and I can't make the comment I would want to make, so I just shut my mouth, Robertson said last week. It was carried out by distorted gremlins, individuals who never got proper socialization since birth, young people, now adults who are not equipped. We need to do some remedial work on these distorted gremlins, Robertson stressed, amazed at the public and media attention drawn by the letter, which demanded $100,000 fortnightly from the worksite, threatening the lives of 2 supervisors and workmen on the site. Big money or big funeral for you guys, the letter warned, listing the potential targets. Robertson said the core of the letter takes the focus from the developmental wave that awaits St. Thomas, which for more than 154 years had never had this level of investment. When people drive to St. Thomas and they see the amount of work being done from Harborview to Cedar Valley, people are beginning to take heart, James pressed. When people see that the new town centre is still on and is part of the mix and their future, they believe that this is a place they can retire, he added, noting that while crime will affect St. Thomas's growth, it will not retard it. Robertson's dismissive approach was foreign to that of fearful workmen, at least 4 of whom have not returned to work since the extortion threat 2 weeks ago. Others who have returned say they are in constant fear for their lives, even as the police carry out interrogations among them for leads to find the perpetrators. "Right now I don't trust no man," said one among a group of workers Thursday, ruling the level of support given to workmen, especially the traumatized operator to whom the letter was handed by armed men. "Nobody don't know who or what this a come from, so we can't just take it for granted," he continued, as others speculated whether the demand may have come from a disgruntled workman, as supervisors on the site are quick to fire the man them. The workmen only worked half day last Thursday, as police reportedly took some for interrogation. In the interim, police sleuths say migratory criminals continue to hide out in St. Thomas, and they fear that they could influence more novel crimes in usually low-key communities. The criminals range from escapees to wanted felons, some of whom police believe may have formed alliances with established criminal networks operating in the Eastern Parish. Since last year, roughly 20 men wanted for crimes in other police divisions have either been arrested or cut down by cops. 4 of the wanted men were arrested this year. Since January, St. Thomas has also recorded 4 murders, 2 incidents of shootings, and at least 2 cases of rape. This is a general reduction in the major crimes over the corresponding period in 2020, but cops remain alert for emerging acts of extortion and lottery scamming that may migrate with fugitives from divisions such as St. Andrew Central, St. Catherine South, Kingston Central, and Westmoreland, their common origins. This is one angle sleuths have been probing in relation to the delivery of the letter in Trinityville, a farming community. A gentleman, Kevin Lawrence, escaped from the Portmore lockup after being charged for the murder of a policewoman in St. Catherine. In December, police were on patrol and they came upon a group of men. A gunfight started, and he was shot and killed. That man was hiding in the Trinityville space, relayed Superintendent Alison Byfield, head of the St. Thomas Police Division. That happened in December, but he was in the space all along, and the work was ongoing all along, so we cannot say whether or not he may have been his cronies, if he had any here, she noted. But just as though he managed to be hiding out in the space, there just may be other criminals hiding out there. There have been sporadic reports of scamming, particularly in the Bath area, but I think the criminals are more using the parish as a hideout than a place to commit crimes, Byfield said. Warmington welcoming petitions for bad roadways to be fixed. Jamaica's de facto works minister, Everald Warmington, says members of the public can reach out to him about bad road conditions in their communities. "Once I've received a petition from a constituency, I advise the Member of Parliament that I've received this petition signed by persons asking for assistance on this particular project," said Warmington, the minister without portfolio in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation with responsibility for works. He said that having received a petition from citizens, his next step is to request the National Works Agency staff to go look at it, to scope it, and see that the project is done as quickly as possible. "I always respond to Jamaicans when they call on me, regardless of what era it is. Once they call on the minister, I'm going to respond," he said. Warmington, in an interview with the Jamaica Information Service, said that at least one major road rehabilitation project will be undertaken in each constituency in the next financial year. Warmington said that every year, members of Parliament, MPs, are asked to identify major projects that they would like to implement in their constituency. He said that 82 projects have been identified to date, and although it's not possible to do all with the funds that have been allocated, he has advised the MPs that at least one per constituency would be done. "There are some constituencies that have given me more than one, but at least one has to be done per constituency this year," Warmington said. Jamaica has 458 new COVID cases, 5 deaths in one day. Jamaica has recorded 458 new COVID-19 cases and 5 virus-related deaths in the last 24 hours. This brings the total number of cases since the outbreak in the country to 21,328 and the death toll to 396. According to the Ministry of Health and Wellness, the latest victims consist of a 47-year-old female from St. Elizabeth, a 68-year-old female from St. Catherine, a 55-year-old female from St. Catherine, a 64-year-old male from St. Elizabeth, and an 87-year-old male from Trelawney. The ministry said 2 of the deaths were previously classified as under investigation. 2 more deaths were reported as coincidental yesterday, while 1 was classified as under investigation. Meanwhile, the newly reported cases consist of 180 males and 278 females, with ages ranging from 1 day to 91 years. 1 day. The cases were recorded in Kingston and St. Andrew 131, St. James 50, St. Catherine 47, Clarendon 43, St. Anne 40, Trelawney 29, Westmoreland 27, Manchester 25, St. Thomas 18, Portland 17, Hanover 14, St. Elizabeth 9, and St. Mary 8. The country also recorded 48 recoveries, bringing the total recoveries to 12,931. JBN, we keep you informed. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, leave us a comment, and click the notification bell to receive our daily news items. One day we'll be able to have COVID. Strange.